One summer, while I was in high school, my family and I went to a family get-together down on the Chesapeake Bay. It sounded like fun. It seemed like everyone from my mom's side of the family was going to be there. I looked forward to seeing most of them. This gathering was going to happen at my mom's cousin's Jane's house. I was excited because we had done something like this a few times. It was always fun to get together with Toby's kids, Mir and Chris. They were my favorite cousins. I knew that my uncle Will and his family would be there as well. I was not as enthusiastic about seeing them, but I knew that I wouldn't have to spend too much time with them because there were going to be so many other people to hang out with. The Jane's house, I was excited to see my cousins from Charleston, South Carolina. I hadn't seen them in a few years, and my cousins from Maryland, and my cousins from New York, and my cousins from California. My mom had a big family. It wasn't only my immediate cousins either. Some were my mother's cousins' kids. I didn't know what that made them to me. I just called them my cousins. We all had a lot of fun together, hanging out in our group of kids, ranging from toddlers to kids in college. We went swimming, kayaking, water skiing, and we even went to a nearby beach and went surfing. My favorites are still my cousins Mir and Chris. They were a lot like Ernesto and me. It was a great weekend. At the end of the week, Mom said that we were going to stay a few extra days. Awesome! I could live like this forever. Unfortunately, my cousins from farther away had to go home because of plane tickets and other commitments. I would miss them, but I also was happy to stay here for a few more days because there was so much to do. I said goodbye to my cousins and promised to keep in touch. I prepared to say goodbye to Will and his family, but found out they were staying for a few more days as well. With all the other kids there, I didn't have to interact with the tight butts as much. Ernesto and I had also taken to calling Will the Kaiser because he was so controlling. He often liked to order our other cousins and us around, especially the girls for some reason. We would ignore him because he wasn't our dad, but it was still annoying. With the other cousins present, we were able to ignore the Kaiser. Now he was staying. With all the other cousins gone, Ernesto and I found things to do together. It was still fun, and to be honest, relaxing. When it was just my sis and I, there was less to focus on. Then Will suggested that we do something with Todd and Ellie. We thought kayaking or surfing. No, they wanted to go water skiing. All right, that sounded good. I had not seen Todd or Ellie water ski. I learned the reason that I had not seen him do that was because he wasn't very good at it. Of course, Will wanted to drive the boat, even though Jane had let me a few times. Ernesto wished to try slalom skiing, which is when you use only one ski. Daddy and Mom and I coached Ernesto how to get up on the ski. She didn't need the coaching. Ernesto got up right away and was incredible. I was proud of her. Ellie didn't want to try. She just wanted to ride in the boat. I already could slalom. So the next person to try was Todd. He didn't get up. He tried a bunch of times, but had no luck. Ernesto wanted to go again. Will refused to take her. That was weird. The next day, we decided to go again. Will again drove the boat. Ernesto popped right up again. Will took her on a wild ride. I was worried a few times that the twists and turns would be too touch for Ernesto to hold on to. I did not need to worry about my sister. She was a trooper, and surprisingly strong for her size. BB was jumping up and down on the dock, cheering Ernesto on, along with Mom and Dad. Todd tried again, didn't get it again, and again, and again. Will took me again, but when Ernesto wanted to go, he said it was time to go in. As we were putting our gear away, I noticed that Will was talking to Todd. He looked mad. I couldn't hear what he was saying.
"I can't believe that girl beat you,"
Will said.
"I mean, not only is she a girl, she's younger than you."
"I tried, Dad," Todd said. "I just couldn't do it, and maybe the boat was too fast."
"The boat wasn't too fast for that half-breed girl."
Will was practically screaming. I stayed in the boathouse.
"Everything you do is a reflection of me. You lost to a girl."
I didn't know there was a competition. What was he talking about? I couldn't believe it, but I was feeling bad for Todd. Todd, tight butt, the stuck-up snob who was going to be a lawyer. I felt terrible for him. Will ranted on and on about a little girl. Ernesto was 13 years old, not a little girl. And who cared? Weren't girls and boys equal? That was what I had been taught. I stayed in the boathouse listening because I didn't want to embarrass Todd. "Dad, I tried. I can't do it," Todd said again.
You will try again tomorrow, and you will succeed, and you will not be outshone by that half-breed little girl,
Will said, and then he stormed upstairs. I really didn't want to witness any of that again. After Todd followed his father upstairs, I waited a little while and then joined everyone at the house. At dinner, my grandparents complimented Ernesto on being so naturally athletic, just like her big brother. I smiled at the double compliment. I had a thought. "I thought Todd did a really good job trying," I said. Todd didn't look happy by this. "Trying isn't doing," Todd said. All right, the compliment didn't work.
Todd has been accepted to 5 different schools,
Will said. Everyone congratulated Todd, and then everyone went back to talking to Ernesto about how she was able to learn to slalom with such ease. Will didn't say anything for the rest of dinner. Neither did Todd. Todd just sat and ate his food quietly. I thought I would like to try to make Todd feel a little better. I know, imagine that, wanting to make Todd, tight butt, feel better. "I heard that the waves are going to be awesome tomorrow," I said. "Let's all go surfing tomorrow instead of skiing." "Yes," Ernesto said excitedly. She was also a great surfer, better than I was. That never bothered me. "Let's go out and catch swells." Will looked at Ernesto as though she was a dog turd.
We are going home tomorrow morning,
he said. It was uncomfortable. That was an understatement. I was glad the next day when they left, and not for the usual reasons that I am pleased to see Will and his family leave. I was relieved that the negative and stressful mood was gone. I didn't know how to look at Todd. My father had never spoken to me that way. Neither had my mom. I was glad for that. I was also delighted that my sister and I had a few days just to hang out. Ernesto did say one interesting thing. "Will doesn't like girls," she said to me. "Yeah, I got that too," I said. "I'm glad he's not my dad," she said. "I feel bad for his kids." "Me too," I said. And then my sister and I went surfing. Just the two of us. As usual, she was better than I was. And it made me proud of her. After all, I had taught her. I learned a lot during those last few days with Will and his family. I learned a lot about why his children were the way that they were. I had never imagined feeling bad for Todd or Ellie, but I felt genuinely sorry for them. My parents had never shamed me like that, no matter what I had done or how frustrated they might be with me. I had never felt ashamed that my sister was better at some things than me. I was never made to feel that way. I wonder how else Will had bullied and shamed his children. After all, I witnessed just a minute in their lives. I could not imagine how that felt. I made a promise to myself that I would always make an effort to treat my kids the way that my parents had treated Ernesto and me. I decided that when I had kids, I would build them up and make them love themselves. Hey, thank you for watching. Please click on the right to subscribe if you liked the video. And please don't forget to click on the bell icon when you subscribe so that you can be notified when we upload a new video. Watch more videos on the left, including our playlist. Thank you.